Hello and welcome to day 137 of our Chronological Bible in a Year reading. Today we have 2 Samuel 16, 17, and 18. 2 Samuel 16. And David had passed on a little from the summit and saw Ziba the servant of Mephibosheth, who met him with a couple of saddled donkeys, and on them 200 loaves and 100 cakes of raisins and 100 summer fruit and a skin of wine. And the sovereign said to Ziba, "Why do you have these?" And Ziba said, "The donkeys are for the sovereign's household to ride on, and the bread and summer fruit for the young men to eat, and the wine for the wearied to drink in the wilderness." And the sovereign said, "And where is the son of your master?" And Ziba said to the sovereign, "See, he remains in Jerusalem, for he said, 'Today the house of Israel is going to return the reign of my father to me.'" And the sovereign said to Ziba, "See, all that belongs to Mephibosheth is yours." And Ziba said, "I have bowed myself. Let me find favor in your eyes, my master, O sovereign." And when sovereign David came to Bahurim, he saw a man from the clan of the house of Shaul, whose name was Shimi, son of Gera, coming from there. And he came out, cursing as he came. And he threw stones at David. And all the servants of sovereign David and all the people and all the mighty men were on his right and on his left. And this is what Shimi said as he cursed, get out, O man of blood and man of Belial. Yahuwah has brought upon you all the blood of the house of Shaul, in whose place you have reigned. And Yahuwah has given the reign into the hand of Absalom your son. And see, you are in your own evil, for you are a man of blood." And Abishai, son of Zeruiah, said to the sovereign, "Why should the dead dog curse my master the sovereign? Please let me pass over and take off his head." And the sovereign said, "What have I to do with you, you sons of Zeruiah? For let him curse, even because Yahuwah has said to him, 'Curse David.' And who should say, 'Why did you do that?'" And David said to Abishai and all his servants, "See how my son who came from my own body seeks my life, and how much more now this Benjamite. Leave him alone and let him curse, for Yahuwah has spoken to him. If so be, Yahuwah looks on my affliction, and Yahuwah shall return good to me for his cursing today." And as David and his men went in the way, Shimi walked alongside him on the hillside, and cursed as he went, and threw stones at him, and kicked up dust. And the sovereign and all the people who were with him became weary, and they refreshed themselves there. And Absalom and all the people, the men of Israel, came to Jerusalem, and Ahithophel was with him. And it came to be, when Hushai the Archite, the friend of David, had come to Absalom, that Hushai said to Absalom, "Let the sovereign live, let the sovereign live." And Absalom said to Hushai, "Is this your kindness to your friend? Why did you not go with your friend?" And Hushai said to Absalom, "No, I am for the one whom Yahuwah and this people and all the men of Israel have chosen, and with him I remain. And besides, whom should I serve? Should it not be before his son? As I have served before your father, so I am before you." And Absalom said to Ahithophel, "Give your advice, what should we do?" And Ahithophel said to Absalom, "Go into your father's concubines, whom he has left to look after the house. And all Israel shall hear that you have made yourself a stench to your father, and the hands of all who are with you shall be strong." So they pitched a tent for Absalom on the top of the house, and Absalom went into his father's concubines before the eyes of all Israel. Now the advice Ahithophel gave in those days was as if one had inquired at the word of Elohim. So was all the advice of Ahithophel, both to David and to Absalom. Chapter 17. And Ahithophel said to Absalom, "Please let me choose 12,000 men, and let me arise and pursue David tonight, and come upon him while he is weary and weak. And I shall make him afraid, and all the people who are with him shall flee. And I shall smite the sovereign alone, and bring back all the people to you. When all return except the man whom you seek, all the people should be at peace." And the saying pleased Absalom and all the elders of Israel. But Absalom said, "Now call Hushai." Excuse me. "Now call Hushai the Archite also." Okay. But Absalom said, "Now call Hushai the Archite also, and let us hear what he says too." And Hushai came to Absalom, And Absalom spoke to him, saying, Ahithophel has spoken according to this word. Should we do as he says? If not, speak up. Okay, I apologize, everybody viewing. Alright, verse 7. And Hushai said to Absalom, the advice that Ahithophel has given. Okay, come on, quit making me laugh. It's okay. The advice that Ahithophel has given is not good at this time. And Hushai said, You know your father and his men, that they are mighty men, and they are as bitter in being as a bear robbed of her cubs in the field. And your father is a man of battle, and would not spend the night with the people. See, by now he is hidden his... I apologize. Okay, come on. Verse 9. See, by now he is hidden in some pit or in some place. And it shall be... Come on. And it shall be when some of them fall at the first, that whoever hears it shall say, There has been... Oh my gosh. Okay. There has been a smiting among the people who are following Absalom. And even he who is brave, whose heart is like the heart of a lion, would utterly melt. For all Yisrael knows that your father is a mighty man, and those who are with him are brave men. But I advise, let all Yisrael without fail be gathered to you from Dan to Beersheba, as numerous as the sand by the sea, and that you yourself go to battle. And we shall come upon him in some place where he is found, and fall on him as the dew falls on the ground. I can't look at you. I'm not. Okay.
I'm not looking at you.
And there shall be left of him and of all the men with him not even one. And if he withdraws into his city, then all Israel shall bring ropes to that city. And we shall put it into the wadi, which is the valley, until there is not one small stone found there. Absalom and all the men of Israel then said, The advice of Hushai the Archite is better than the advice of Ahithophel. For Yahuwah had ordained to nullify the good advice of Ahithophel for the sake of Yahuwah bringing evil upon Absalom. Hushai then said to Zadok and to Abiathar the Kohanim, which means the priest, Ahithophel has advised Absalom and the elders of Israel such and such, but I have advised so and so. And now send hastily and inform David, saying, Do not spend this night in the desert plains of the wilderness, but pass over without fail, lest the sovereign and all the people with him be swallowed up. And Jehonathan and Ahimaaz were stationed at Ein Rogel, and a female servant would come and inform them, and they would go and inform sovereign David, for they would not be seen entering the city. Or they could not be seen entering the city. But a youth saw them and informed Absalom. So the two of them went away at once and came to a man's house in Bahurim, who had Bahurim, I think that's how I pronounced it earlier, either way, who had a well in his courtyard, and they went down into it. And the woman took and spread a covering over the well's mouth, and spread ground grain on it, so the matter was not known. And the servants of Absalom came to the woman at the house and said, Where are Ahimaaz and Jehonathan? And the woman said to them, They have passed over the stream of water. And they looked and did not find them, and returned to Jerusalem. And it came to be, after they had left, that they came up out of the well, and went and informed sovereign David, and said to David, Arise and pass over the water quickly, for thus Ahithophel has advised against you. And David and all the people who were with him rose up and passed over the Yarden, which is the Jordan River. And by morning light not even one remained who had not gone over the Yarden. And Ahithophel saw that his advice was not followed, so he saddled his donkey and rose up and went home to his house, to his city. Then he gave charge to his house, and hanged himself, and died. And he was buried in his father's tomb. And David came to Mahanaim, and Absalom passed over the Yarden, he and all the men of Israel with him. And Absalom appointed Amasa over the army instead of Joab. Now Amasa was the son of a man whose name was Yithra, a Yisraelite, who had gone into Abigail, the daughter of Nahash, sister of Zeruiah, Joab's mother. And Yisrael and Absalom encamped in the land of Gilead. And it came to be when David had come to Mahanaim that Shobi son of Nahash from Rabbah of the children of Ammon, and Machir son of Amiel from Lo-Debar, and Barzillai the Gileadite from Rogalim, brought beds and basins and earthen vessels, and wheat and barley and flour and roasted grain and beans and lentils and parched grain and honey and curds and sheep and cheese of the herd for David and the people who were with him to eat. For they said, the people are hungry and weary and thirsty in the wilderness. Chapter 18. And David mustered the people who were with him, and put commanders of thousands and commanders of hundreds over them. And David sent out 1/3 of the people under the hand of Joab, and 1/3 under the hand of Abishai son of Zeruiah, Joab's brother, and 1/3 under the hand of Ittai the Gittite. And the sovereign said to the people, I shall certainly go out with you too. But the people answered, Do not go out, for if we flee away, they would not lay heart upon us. Even if half of us die, they would not lay heart upon us. For now 10,000 are like us. Therefore it is better for you to support us from the city. And the sovereign said to them, That which is good in your eyes I do. And the sovereign stood beside the gate, and all the people went out by hundreds and by thousands. And the sovereign ordered Joab and Abishai and Ittai, saying, Be gentle with the young man Absalom for my sake. And all the people heard when the sovereign gave all the commanders orders concerning Absalom. So the people went out into the field to meet Yisrael. And the battle was in the forest of Ephraim. And the people of Yisrael were smitten there before the servants of David. And the smiting there that day was great, 20,000. And the battle there was scattered over the face of all the land. And the forest devoured more people that day than the sword devoured. And when Absalom met the servants of David, Absalom was riding on a mule, and the mule went under the thick branches of a great terebinth tree, and his head caught in the terebinth. And he was suspended between the Shamayim, which is the heavens, and earth, while the mule which was under him passed on. And a certain man saw it and informed Joab, and said, Look, I saw Absalom hanging in a terebinth tree. And Joab said to the man who informed him, Now look, you saw, and why did you not smite him to the earth there? Then I would have given you 10 pieces of silver and a belt. But the man answered Joab, Though I were to receive 1,000 pieces of silver in my hand, I would not raise my hand against the son of the sovereign. Because in our hearing the sovereign ordered you and Abishai and Ittai, saying, Take heed, you who go against the youth, against Absalom. Otherwise I would have been untrue to my own life. For no matter is hidden from the sovereign, and you yourself would have put yourself against me. And Joab said, Let me not waste time here with you. And he took 3 spears in his hand, and thrust them through Absalom's heart, while he was still alive in the midst of the terebinth tree. And 10 young men who bore Joab's armor went around, and smote Absalom, and put him to death. And Joab blew the ram's horn, and the people returned from pursuing Yisrael, for Joab had held the people back. And they took Absalom, and threw him into a large pit in the forest, and heaped a very large pile of stones over him. And all Yisrael fled, each one to his tent. And Absalom in his lifetime had taken and put up a monument for himself, which is in the sovereign's valley. For he said, I have no son to keep my name in remembrance. And he called the monument after his own name. And to this day it is called Absalom's monument. And Ahimaaz son of Zadok said, Please let me run and take the news to the sovereign, for Yahweh has judged his enemies. But Joab said to him, You are not the man to take the news today, but you shall take the news another day. But today you do not take news, because the sovereign's son is dead. And Joab said to the Cushite, Go, inform the sovereign what you have seen. And the Cushite bowed himself to Joab and ran. And Ahimaaz son of Zadok and said again to Joab, And whatever might be, please let me also run after the Cushite. And Joab said, Why would you run, my son? There is no news to bring you reward. But whatever might be, let me run. So he said to him, Run. And Ahimaaz ran by the way of the plain and passed the Cushite. Now David was sitting between the 2 gates, and the watchman went up to the roof over the gate to the wall, and lifted his eyes and looked and saw a man running alone. So the watchman called out and told the sovereign, and the sovereign said, If he is alone, there is news in his mouth. And he came nearer and nearer. And the watchman saw another man running, and the watchman called out to the gatekeeper and said, See, a man running by himself. And the sovereign said, This one is also bringing news. And the watchman said, I see the running of the first is like the running of Ahimaaz son of Zadok. And the sovereign said, This is a good man, and he comes with good news. And Ahimaaz called out and said to the sovereign, Peace. Then he bowed down with his face to the earth before the sovereign and said, Baruch, which means blessed, Be Yahuwah, your Elohim, who has surrendered the men who raised their hand against my master, the sovereign. And the sovereign said, Peace to the young man, to Absalom. Peace to the young man, to Absalom. And Ahimaaz answered, When Joab sent the sovereign's servant, and me, your servant, I saw a great crowd, but I did not know why. And the sovereign said, Turn aside and stand here. And he turned aside and stood still. And see, the Cushite came, and the Cushite said, Receive news, my master the sovereign, for Yahuwah has judged this day all those who rose against you. And the sovereign said to the Cushite, Peace to the young man, to Absalom. And the Cushite answered, Let the enemies of my master the sovereign, and all who rise against you for evil, be as that young man is. And the sovereign was shaken, and went up to the room over the gate, and wept. And as he went, he said this, O my son Absalom, my son Absalom, if only I had died instead of you. O Absalom, my son, my son. And that concludes the reading for today. Thanks for joining. Hope you're reading along, and peace and blessings and love to you. See you in the next one.